So we are here to talk about A Game of Thrones. He is the literal worst character I've ever read. Eating pigeons, whatever the heck the other family's name is. So glad he's dead. George R.R. Martin, just, giving us the worst. And I was like, yeah, that's not cool. Hi friends, welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Rachel. In today's video, we are going to do a Game of Thrones reading vlog. I am very nervous to read this book. As I'm sure pretty much everyone knows, this book is huge and the series is ginormous and very beloved. So here we are. We're going to dive into this series together and we'll see how this goes. I will put here whether or not it is a spoiler or spoiler-free video. I'm not too sure yet. It'll also be in the title of the video, so you will know before you start watching whether or not this is a spoiler or spoiler-free video. Okay, so I started this book this morning. I'm about 45 pages in or so, which is roughly chapter 5. They don't really have chapter numbers. They're just like the names of the characters. So I am currently on John's chapter, and I like him as a character. I feel like he's really interesting. The chapter that I read, not the last one, that one was about Eddard, whatever his name is, but the one before that about the girl, I cannot pronounce her name, but her. This was so sad. The part at the end of this chapter where he was telling her that like she basically just has to do it with whoever he tells her and she's gonna smile and like, I don't know. It was really sad. I did not enjoy that. But I have a feeling that a lot of that's going to be happening in this book. So I think I need to just deal with it and continue on. But so far I'm enjoying it. I have never seen the show and I've obviously never read the book. So I'm going into it fairly blind. I honestly I could not even tell you a general premise of what the series is about other than there are multiple families and that's kind of it. Like I don't know anything about the series. We were introduced to dire wolves, which I thought was pretty cool. I mean, obviously there's a wolf on the cover, but I just thought they were going to be like regular wolves, not dire wolves. So I find that kind of interesting. I don't know if Game of Thrones has dragons or if that's more of like something that came beforehand. Like I said, I know absolutely nothing about this series, so we are going to find out together. Most of you probably already know more about this series than I do. I think I'm gonna have to create like a graph or like write down the families and the names and stuff because right now I have no idea who is who and I'm only 5 chapters in. So that's not good. But I think I'm gonna have to, like I said, make a list or something of the different characters and what houses they're in because they don't give you like in the chapter titles, it's literally just their name. And right now in the beginning, I don't know who anyone is, so I need to figure that out. But I am going to also follow along with Chris and Mad's book club on their Patreon, and hopefully that will help me understand more of what the heck is happening in this book. So wish me luck, and here we go. Okay, why is this book kind of funny? He's like talking about his dire wolf, and he's like growling at this guy, and the guy's like, oh, he's shy, isn't he? So funny. And then this dwarf says, never forget what you are, for surely the world will not. Make it your strength, then it can never be your weakness. Armor yourself in it, and it will never be used to hurt you. And then at the end of the chapter, it says, when he opened the door, the light from within threw his shadow clear across the yard, and for just a moment, Tyrion Lannister stood as tall as a king. Okay. Now we tab. Okay, so I wanted to talk about A Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. I am almost 100 pages in. I'm like 85, 86 pages in or so. And I'm really liking this book. Surprisingly, I don't know. I did not think I was going to like this book as much as I do. I think because I have never seen the show, I've never talked to anyone really about it, and I don't really look at things online that have to do with Game of Thrones because I don't know anything about it, that I just assumed that it was just like this war, like, based fantasy. And maybe it is later, but right now it's honestly just like a family drama, and or I guess like families, like multiple families, and it is so good. Like, I love these characters. My boyfriend told me not to get attached to anyone because people die, and I kind of knew that just based loosely on like what I've heard and like people have talked about. But I love John. He is such a great character. People love him, and I don't understand why Caitlin hates him so much. I mean, I do. I get it. I understand why she's mad, but I don't understand why she's taking it out on him. Like, he's a kid, he's a child. I don't get that perspective, like, be mad at Ned, not at John. But anyway, also Bran is adorable and he's so cute, and I'm so sad that currently right now he's dying. I don't know whether or not he lives. I haven't gotten that far yet. But also, again, like I said earlier in earlier clips, that I think I'm going to have to just get used to the idea that this is going to kind of be a little bit gross. They haven't like fully said it, but it's been implied that the queen is sleeping with her twin brother. Yeah, I don't know. That does not sound good. Like, that's just not something that I'm interested in reading. So hopefully, again, if it's in there, it's in there, but hopefully it's not excessive. My boyfriend did say that the book is a little bit more mellow in that aspect than the show is. So hopefully, fingers crossed that, it comes across that way. But so far, I'm really enjoying it. I'm really liking it, and I'm really happy that I started reading this book. I think the other thing that I'm really enjoying about reading this book right now is that my boyfriend has already read the series up until obviously what's out, and he's seen the show. And so every step of the way, I'm able to talk to him about it and ask him questions. And I don't know how he remembers all of these things, because if I had read this entire series and watched the show years ago, I don't know if I would remember everything from like the very first book, the beginning of the very first book. So props to him. But he has helped me already kind of figure out like who's who, who's related to who, and stuff like that. But it's been a really fun experience. I love reading books with people, but I also enjoy being able to talk about books with people, and being able to talk to him about the series is really fun, and to see him super excited about me finally reading this is also really fun. So that is also a part of the reason why I think I'm enjoying it so much. So we are here to talk about A Game of Thrones and what this book put me through. Genuinely, probably one of the most stressful books I've ever read. Why is this book so stressful? Why is it so intense? I don't know. I finished it today, and I feel like I need to breathe. This book was incredible. It was absolutely fantastic. I so badly want to give it 5 stars, but I just feel like the other ones are going to be so much better that once I read them, I'm going to look back and be like, oh yeah, this book was fantastic, but it wasn't quite 5 stars. So I rated it 4.75 stars. I know, not too drastic of a rating from 5 stars, but I just genuinely loved this book. And when I honestly think about the characters, the plot, how the story progressed, like, I can't think of a single thing that was done poorly. And it just constantly had me worried, scared, terrified of the characters that I adored, like things happening to them. I hate certain characters. Joffrey, hate him. He is the literal worst character I've ever read. Like, ever. Like, I don't think I've read a worse character in my entire life of reading. I've been reading since I was a tiny child, and I've never read a worse character than Joffrey. This is a spoiler vlog, so I'm just gonna go for it and dive in and just give you all of my thoughts and feelings, because this book. So to start, the characters I absolutely love are Arya and Bran. And when Bran got pushed by Jaime, oh my gosh, my heart stopped. I was like, this is it. This is the first character that I love that's going to die. Thank goodness he hasn't yet. I'm just so nervous. Like, my boyfriend told me, don't love anyone because everyone is at risk. And that definitely holds true. Ned, I'm so sad. That was insane. And then poor Arya living her life as like a little lost child. It's heartbreaking to see her like that, eating pigeons. And I mean, I get like people did that back then, but she was eating so many of them, she was starting to feel sick. Like, that's just so sad. She's also so adorable and so funny. And I love her. She's like my favorite character. I was not the biggest fan of Daenerys and Drago. I'm still not. I mean, Drago's dead now, so I guess he gave her dragons. Okay, that's cool. Now we've got dragons, so we'll see how that goes in book 2. But I wasn't the biggest fan of them. Their side of the story, for me at least, kind of felt like it dragged a tiny bit. And I wasn't as invested in their story. I'm going to put this down because it's kind of heavy. I wasn't as invested in their story as I was with the Starks and whatever the heck the other family's name is, Joffrey and his mom and Robert and all them, the king, queen, was not as invested. But I still enjoyed getting to know Daenerys and her brother, which I hated him. I didn't enjoy getting to know him. I hated him. He was awful. So glad he's dead. And I didn't love Drago, but he wasn't my like least favorite character either. Joffrey. So I'm kind of bummed that he died, and I kind of felt like he deserved like a better death, like I kind of felt like his death was kind of sad. And I know that Dany was doing like the whole thing for him, but I don't know, it just didn't feel like the way that he should have died. But here we are, George R.R. Martin just giving us the worst and the best. It's the best, but it's also the worst. I shouldn't say understand the pain now of Game of Thrones fans, because I haven't finished the series, so I'm not at the end yet waiting for the actual ending, but I'm sure when I get there I will 100% feel your guys' pain. But as of right now, I just am starting to get that inkling of pain that George R.R. Martin is giving to us. But yeah, this book was wild. It was truly insane. I genuinely thought that Ned was going to be a massive character and play such a huge role in the series, and then he died. And I was like, yeah, that's not cool. Really sad. And the fact that Sansa and Arya had to watch it happen was just really sad. And speaking of Sansa, she is a little brat. I do not like her. I feel bad for her now, but I'm like, girl, you could have saved yourself so much trouble if you weren't just like, this little girl that was like in love with this cute little prince. But yeah, she's kind of annoying. Like I said, I feel bad for her now because she's going through so much with her family and with Joffrey, and he is truly the worst person alive. And the fact that he is a child of incest between twins, I don't know, man. That's crazy to me. When I first read that, like that Jaime and I always forget her name, but the queen, that they were together, no. I also love Tyrion. Speaking of them, Tyrion's their brother, and I love him. I don't know how I'm going to feel about him after watching the show, because I watched the first episode and I didn't love him in the show. I felt like in the show he was a lot more like grotesque and like very kind of, I don't know. I didn't vibe with him in the show. But in the book, he's so funny and he's so smart, and he still has the same like characteristics as the character in the show. But I just felt like in the show he really was made out to be more of like this gross playboy type of character, and in the book, again, like it's talked about, but I don't know, he just felt different in the book. Like in the book he felt like this funny character that has so much depth to him and so much behind who he is. And in this show, I did not feel that. Like, I did not get any of that. Like, if I had just watched the show, I don't think I would have connected with his character as much as I do after reading the book. And I am like the worst person when it comes to adaptations. Like, I love a true adaptation, and I've heard that up until, you know, a certain season or so, like, it is a really good adaptation. But I don't know. I think for me, like, I am a huge character lover. Like, if I don't love the characters, I am not enjoying the book. Like, I love a character driven book. I love side characters. I love characters. And if I can't connect with them, then it's it. That's it. It's over. And I don't connect with them in the show. Granted, I've only seen the first episode, so I'm hoping that it gets better and that I end up connecting with them. But in my mind, they're different. Like, the book and the show are different. They are different characters. They're different, you know, it's not the same for me because I don't have that feeling that I felt when I read this book. Like, when I read this book, I was shocked. Like, my jaw would drop. I was, you know, disgusted by people. I fell in love with characters. And in the show, again, only having watched the first episode, but in the show, I really didn't care about anyone. I could care less about any of those characters. So I am really glad I read the book first. All in all, fantastic. I don't know what I was doing not reading this book. I don't know when I'm going to pick up the second one. To be completely honest, I am, like, in the literal worst way possible, am a mood reader to my core. And I have, I don't want to say never, but I rarely ever read a series back to back. And that's a problem, I know, and I have to deal with it. This year, I have a goal of finishing most of the series that I've started. But yeah, I just don't know when I'm going to start the second one. I will read it this year. I know that for a fact, but I don't know when I will read it. So, like I said, this book was insane. I think that everyone should read this book. It was crazy. I loved it. I was obsessed. Caitlin is an interesting one for me because at the end, I really liked her. But for the most part, she was not my favorite character. I didn't hate her by any means, but I just did not agree with her in a lot of aspects, especially when it came to John. I felt like she hates him so much, and it's not his fault. You know what I mean? Like, it's not his fault that Ned went out and had him. And, you know, like, it's just, I don't know. His siblings accept him. Obviously, Ned loves him. Like, why can't you accept him? You know, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me in my brain. I'm like, yeah, be mad at Ned or be mad at John's mom, but not at John. Like, he's just a kid. He didn't do anything. I don't know. And I loved Ned. It was really honestly sad for me when he died because he is such a fantastic father. Like, he loves his kids. He wants what's best for them. He was constantly being like, but they're only 7. They're only 13. Meanwhile, everyone else is like, you know, oh yeah, you're 5. You should be getting married. Like, crazy. I get it. Back then, you know, I think a guy said that he was like an old man and he was like 35. So, like, I get it. But at the same time, it was just really refreshing seeing Ned care for his children in a way that a lot of these other characters didn't seem to care for their children. And then to have him die, especially in that way. Like, are you kidding me? In the end, I liked her. She had like this little monologue at the end about, you know, being loyal and family and all this stuff. And I really resonated with that. I thought that she spoke beautifully in that moment. But pretty much up until that time, I wasn't a big fan of hers. And her sister, don't even get me started. My goodness, she is so annoying. And her child, I don't even want to talk about them. Like, genuinely, I don't even want to talk about them. Who else is there? I mean, then there's John, and I really like John. I don't like how he's now in that guard, the black guard or whatever it's called. I don't like it because we don't see as much from him. But also, I have a bad feeling. I just have a bad feeling. I don't know. I feel like something bad's going to happen to him, and I don't like it. Also, I'm intrigued to find out in the next book who the POVs are going to be from, because I don't know if I'm making this up or if someone told me, if I heard it, but like as the books go on, you get more POVs. I would assume so, because if you're killing people off, you would have to then, bring in other characters to supplement the fact that characters are dying. And why isn't Joffrey dead? I just hate that kid. He is so terrible. And his mom, what is her name? Like Cersei, I think. She's also terrible. I cannot deal with her. She's literally awful and disgusting. Her and Jaime. I know I already talked about that, but so gross. And then Robert the King, I really liked him. I had a feeling he was gonna die because obviously they're like talking about it almost from the jump about how there's like a whole conspiracy of the fact that he's gonna get killed. But then he died from a boar. Okay, so it was shocking, but it was also kind of like, what, Bran is really sad. I'm sad for Bran. I really wish that he had more going on for him, but I feel like he's getting some kind of like interesting pieces of information back, in Winterfell. I feel like he's really getting some interesting tidbits, so that'll be kind of interesting to see how that goes and what he learns. Robert the son, Ned's son Robert, he's kind of boring. I don't know. Again, kind of at the end, he got a little bit more of like an actual personality, but also we don't have a perspective from him, which I find interesting. So maybe in the next book we will, because now he's leading a whole army, so maybe we'll get a perspective from him in the second book. But right now, he's just kind of there. I already touched on Daenerys. I hated Drago in the beginning when he was like kind of weird and funky with her, but then they fell in love like actually, and I was like, oh, okay, cute. And then he died. And the lady who like did that weird stuff to them, who like turned him into basically a vegetable, I don't know, like I'm not gonna say that I feel bad for what happened to her. I obviously I feel bad for what happened to her in her town, but then what she did to Drago, I did not really feel that bad after when Daenerys killed her. So, yeah. I don't really know how I feel about the dragon aspect, because I don't think I quite understand. Obviously, I mean, they hardly ever talked about it other than Daenerys constantly saying that, she has a dragon basically in her mind or something. I know she doesn't have a dragon in her mind, but she's always thinking that stuff. But other than that, we haven't really gotten any information about the dragons, and so I feel justified in saying that like I'm just confused about that whole plot point and like what's going to come from that. Obviously, I'm assuming they'll touch more on it in later books, but it's not all that intriguing to me right now because we don't really know much about it, and I feel like we don't have enough information for me to feel interested in it. It's just like a sprinkling, and I'm like, okay, it's there, but what, okay, A Game of Thrones. I fear that this might be one of my new favorite series, and I don't know. I don't think I'll become obsessed with it, right? But genuinely, this is a fantastic fantasy series, and the fact that it is now going to be 30 years old this year is wild to me, that the last book has not come out yet. And I was talking to my boyfriend about this, and I was like, I wonder if George R.R. Martin just wants to like, leave this lasting legacy of like, my last act before I die is giving you this book, and he's not going to release it until he's like about to die. I don't know. We'll see what happens, I guess. I feel like this vlog was kind of all over the place. This was the first time I've done like a dedicated reading vlog to one book, and I don't really know how I feel about it right now, but I'm excited to read the rest of them. I hope that you guys liked some part of this video. Like I said, it was kind of all over the place. But if you enjoy my content, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. No spoilers, please, for the rest of the series, but leave a comment down below about A Game of Thrones, just the first book. Yeah, and just let me know what your favorite part is or who your favorite character is. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.